We begin our roundup of day 25 with the weekend's big news: Paris Saint-Germain's shock defeat away to Sochaux. The Parisians got off to a good start, with central defender Alex heading them in front in the 29th minute. But the hosts had started brightly and kept up their intensity. They drew level only 7 minutes later through Sébastien Roudet after a superb ball forward from Riyad Boudebouz. Sochaux then took the lead in the second half as Giovanni Sio, making his Ligue 1 debut, had a neat 1-2 with Roudet before rifling a shot under Salvatore Sirigu. PSG weren't going to give in without a fight and got back on level terms after another corner in the 76th minute. Mamadou Sakho eventually sliding home with a little help from Jérôme Roussillon. But this was to be Sochaux's day. In the 82nd minute, Boudebouz crossed in for Sloan Privat, who squared for Cedric Bakambu to slot home. Through to the final score at Stade Bonal, though Carlo Ancelotti doesn't believe this result will upset PSG's rhythm. We've won a lot of games recently, but defeat is inevitable from time to time. It happens. After our performance in the Champions League, it's a little hard to take, and we can't be satisfied. But we lost, it's done, and I don't think it changes anything ultimately. It was just one game, one result, and the next game will be better. In Sunday's 5 PM kickoff, Reims held high-flying Saint-Etienne to a draw in Champagne. Les Verts got off to a good start with a goal from the on-fire Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in the 10th minute. The Gabonese international given something of a helping hand by Mohamed Fofana, but nevertheless, this was his 4th goal in 4 games and 12th of the season overall. However, Reims fought back valiantly in the second half, eventually grabbing an equaliser through their leading goalscorer Gaëtan Corté in the 76th minute. 1-1, the final score. Lyon recovered from recent disappointment with a stylish 4-0 win away to Bordeaux. And it was their young guns who sounded the charge, with 22-year-old Clément Grenier making it 1-0 here in the 15th minute, with Lyon's first chance of the game. Then in the second half, 21-year-old Gaëtan Fofana thrashed home this superb strike for 2-0. A penalty from Grenier and a final goal from 21-year-old Alexandre Lacazette followed to wrap up a 4-0 win on an afternoon Lyon coach Rémi Garde hopes will inspire his players. We weren't really rewarded for our efforts against Tottenham, and we're behind in the tie even if the second leg is still to come. It's true that in the last 2 games I've felt the players taking more responsibility, taking matters into their own hands, and I just hope that we can build on that. Bastia and their supporters returned to Fioriani this weekend after nearly 3 months, but the celebrations were cut short as they went down to Nice, their local rivals of sorts. 16-year-old Neal Mopey was the game's only goalscorer with already his 3rd of the season, though it should have been ruled offside. The host did have a chance to draw level in the dying seconds, but substitute Claudio Beauvu's header drifted agonisingly wide. 1-0, the final score in Corsica. Champions Montpellier traded in the Saint-Etienne snow for the sand of La Mosson as they claimed a 1-0 home win over Nancy. The only goal of the game came courtesy of Emmanuel Herrera in the 34th minute, after a superb long ball forward from Vitorino Hilton and good work from Anthony Mounier. Montpellier back among the European contenders. The Marseille supporters were forced to wait until the 94th minute to see their side find a way past Valenciennes at the Velodrome on Saturday, with Jeremy Morel crossing in for Rod Fanny to stab home. The reaction after the goal here shows exactly what this win means to the Marseille players, 8 days before their trip to face Paris Saint-Germain at Parc des Princes. Elie Beaupierre saying, "Just because we won today, it doesn't mean we're going to be the most difficult opponents for Paris Saint-Germain. But this result will do us good. It'll help our confidence, and hopefully it will inspire us to get a result up in Paris. Above all, it will enable us to stay solid as a team, to play our own game, and go into the game next week without putting too much pressure on ourselves." D'essayer d'être nous-mêmes et d'aller dans ce match sans calcul, voilà. Lorient claimed their first Ligue 1 victory since mid-January with a 2-1 win at home to Evian, with former Arsenal man Jérémy Aliadière making it 1-0 from the penalty spot. Kevin MONNET-PAQUET then added a second 12 minutes from time after a ball across from Maxime Barthelme. Evian did pull one back through Brazilian defender Beto, but it was too little, too late for the Haute-Savoyard club. It took Brest only 12 minutes to take the lead at home to Ajaccio, as on-loan Everton man Magege chipped a wonderful ball through to on-loan Marseille man Florian Raspantino. An ice-cool finish for his second goal in as many games. But Ajaccio equalised in the 70th minute after some fine link-up play between Kenyan international Dennis Oliesh and captain Johan Cavalli. Oliesh firing home his second goal in 4 Ligue 1 games since joining from Auxerre in January. 1-1, the final score at Francis-le-Blé. Lille claimed their second straight win over top 5 opposition with a 2-0 victory at home to Rennes, and their first goal was an unusual one. Keep an eye on Rennes number 3, Chris MAVINGA. He went down after a tussle with Dimitri, stayed on the floor, and thus ended up deflecting Ronnie Rodland's cross into his own net. Lille's second was far more unequivocal, a fine 1-2 between PAYET and Solomon Kalou, with PAYET claiming his first headed goal of the season. 2-0 the final score, and Rudy Garcia is now looking for consistency from his players. Honestly, I don't think there's any point in looking at the table. We know that the important thing is to string wins together, so let's just focus on doing that. It was only our second straight win tonight, so all my attention is now on the trip to Ajaccio next week. We're heading to Corsica to face a team who've put in some big performances at home, but we should still be expecting a lot of ourselves. We've got to be looking for that third win in a row. It took until the 78th minute for the first goal to arrive in Saturday's game between Toulouse and Troyes. The Brazilian Marcos sent a long ball towards Fabian Camus, who powered forward for the visitors. He then crossed in for 19-year-old Mohamed Yattara to claim his first goal in Ligue 1 and make it 1-0 to Troyes. Troyes then made it 2-0 after some neat passing, with Yattara's blocked attempt falling nicely for Benjamin Nivet. Already his 8th goal of the season. But Troyes have already shown their aptitude this season when it comes to throwing away the lead, and this afternoon in Toulouse was to be no exception. After brief chaos in the Troyes area, Eden Benbassat pulled one back for the hosts. And Toulouse equalised with easily the strangest goal of this 25th day. Etienne Didot's cross took a heavy deflection off Nivet and completely flummoxed Troyes keeper Johan Thuram. It ended up in the back of the net, making it 2-2 at the final whistle. All the results from this 25th day then, with fittingly 25 goals scored. Useful home wins for Lille, Marseille, Montpellier and Lorient, while Nice and Lyon were the only teams to pick up 3 points on the road. The only major shock was of course that defeat for Paris Saint-Germain in Sochaux. In the table then, PSG's lead at the top is cut to 3 points, with Marseille a further 2 points behind Lyon. In the race for Europe, things are hotting up, with only 5 points separating Nice in 4th and Lille down in 10th. Very little change in the bottom half of the table meanwhile, with Sochaux's win taking them up to 14th and pushing Bastia, Brest and Reims a little closer to the drop zone. Evian joined Troyes and Nancy in the bottom 3. Next week, Nice and Reims get the 26th day underway at the Stade de Reims. The bottom 3 are all at home on Saturday, with Troyes welcoming Bastia, Evian hosting Montpellier and Nancy up against Saint-Etienne. PSG and Marseille round things out with the much anticipated Classique on Sunday night.